Welcome to the Deep Dive. Today we're really getting into the strategic power of design, especially in our very digital world.
That's right, and we're basing this on a specific article, The Strategic Power of Design. Why good design is the backbone of every successful brand.
Yeah, and look, in today's world, everything's so fast, attention spans are, well, short. So understanding design isn't just for designers anymore, is it?
Not at all. Whether you're launching something new or trying to grow an existing business, this stuff is crucial.
So our mission here is pretty straightforward. Unpack what this specific article says. Why does it argue design is so vital?
How it works beyond just looking nice.
Exactly. We want to give you the key takeaways from this source so you're quickly up to speed on its perspective.
Okay, let's dive in then. The fundamental point the article makes is that good design, it's not optional anymore. It's essential.
He calls it the first handshake, which I think is a great way to put it.
It really is. That first visual contact. And in such a crowded digital space, that handshake needs to be firm, you know?
Right, because everyone's competing for that same split second of attention.
And the source is really clear. This isn't just about aesthetics, about making things pretty. It argues design is about, well, solving problems.
Solving problems, telling stories.
And building trust, all visually. That's the core idea.
Okay, you mentioned that first visual contact. The article has a pretty startling statistic about speed, doesn't it?
It does. It cites research saying users form an opinion about a website, a brand, in just 0.05 seconds.
0.05. That's instantaneous, almost subconscious.
Pretty much. Faster than you can even really think about what you're seeing. It's a gut reaction.
So where does this lightning-fast judgment happen, according to the source?
Well, it points to all those initial touch points. The website, obviously, but also the logo, maybe a social media post you scroll past.
Even things like QR codes on packaging.
Yeah, anywhere you first see the brand, that's where design makes its first immediate impact.
And the elements use colors, fonts, layouts, those little icons. The source says they aren't just random choices, right?
Definitely not. The article stresses they're chosen very intentionally to create an emotional response, first off, and also to guide you, the user, smoothly through whatever experience you're having online. It's about effortless navigation.
So every choice has a purpose behind it. It's not just decoration.
Exactly. Purpose rooted in how users feel and interact.
That deliberate approach seems to lead directly into the next big theme from the source. How design builds credibility.
Yeah.
Trust, basically.
Yes, it draws a really strong line between seeing something that looks polished, professional, and consistent.
And actually trusting the brand behind it.
Precisely. It suggests we're sort of hardwired to equate visual quality with reliability. A bit of a mental shortcut, maybe?
The source uses some big examples here, doesn't it? Apple, Nike.
Coca-Cola, too. And the common thread, it argues, is that deep, unwavering commitment to consistent and very intentional design over time.
And consistency isn't just, say, the website looking good.
No, the article emphasizes it has to be everywhere. The logo needs to feel right on a social post, and an email template, maybe even in a video promo.
So it's about speaking the same visual language across the board.
Exactly that. Ensuring every touch point reinforces the same brand identity.
The source even gets into the practical side, like managing this, mentioning tools for reviews, tracking progress.
Right, it touches on needing systems to maintain that consistency, even on the go, accessing templates, that sort of thing.
It connects the big strategy goal consistency with the how-to.
Yeah, suggesting that managing the brand's look isn't just a static thing, it's ongoing, making sure it's right wherever it shows up.
Okay, so design makes a first impression, builds trust. But the source also digs into how it affects the actual experience of using something, UX.
Absolutely. This moves beyond just looks. Good design, according to this article, makes things work better, seamlessly, intuitively.
So what does good UX mean in this context? What does it feel like?
Well, the article talks about things like navigation being easy, obvious, making sure it works properly on your phone just as well as on a desktop.
Responsiveness, right?
Yeah, responsiveness is key. And crucially, that the whole thing feels like it's built around helping you, the user, achieve what you came there to do. User goals first.
Which makes the opposite clear. Too bad, UX. Clunky, confusing.
Yeah.
Makes you want to click away immediately.
Exactly. And the source ties that directly to business problems, people leaving the site, which is a high bounce rate, or not buying things, so lower conversion rates.
So bad design that hinders use actually costs the business.
That's the argument. It makes the functional side of design a bottom-line issue.
The article also mentions how this focus on the user happens throughout a project, like from the very beginning.
Yeah, it lists stages like wireframing, the basic structure, then prototyping, building the front-end code, even support after it launches.
So it's woven in from start to finish.
The idea presented is that the goal through all of this is building digital experiences, not just pages or apps. Things people actually find smooth, intuitive, maybe even enjoyable to use.
Okay, and aligning those user needs with the business goals, too.
That's the sweet spot it describes. Both need to work together.
Now, another layer the source adds is how design communicates brand values, almost instantly.
Right. This is fascinating. The argument is that every element, color choice, font style, the kind of images used, sends a message about the brand's personality.
Without even needing words sometimes.
Often without words, it's visual shorthand. Is this brand fun or serious? High-end or budget-conscious? Modern or traditional?
Design choices signal all that.
That's what the source suggests. It talks about crafting this visual identity so it perfectly matches the brand's mission and, importantly, speaks directly to the intended audience.
And this might involve things like workshops or specific design services.
Yeah, it mentions branding workshops, graphic design, creating marketing materials, all tools used to kind of capture and express that core brand essence visually.
Okay, so we have first impressions, trust, user experience, communicating values. And the source argues all this leads to a critical outcome. Turning viewers into buyers. Conversion.
Exactly. This is where design becomes a very active tool for driving action. The source explains how things like clear call-to-action buttons.
Like buy now or sign up.
Those buttons, combined with persuasive visuals and layouts that guide the eye logically, are used to nudge a casual visitor towards actually making a purchase or signing up.
It's about making that next step easy and appealing.
Very much so. Guiding the user on that journey from just looking to actually engaging or buying.
And the article lists quite a few places where this conversion-focused design matters. Landing pages, posters.
Email campaigns, yeah. It also adds things like YouTube promo videos or social media graphics.
So design in those formats isn't just for looks either. It's meant to grab attention, keep you engaged.
And keep the brand top of mind, ultimately encouraging that conversion goal. It's all connected.
Okay, so pulling all these different threads together, the big takeaway from this source seems to be that design isn't just, the making things pretty department.
Not at all. The central argument, the real punchline of the article, is that design is a strategy.
A strategy in itself.
Yes. It argues that for businesses to really succeed today, design can't be an afterthought. It has to be baked in from the beginning, woven into absolutely everything the company does and shows to the world.
So not just the website, but the marketing, the packaging, everything.
Everything. It needs to be foundational, pervasive. That's the perspective.
Which brings us back to that point. It's way more than just aesthetics.
Much more. It's about deliberately creating these experiences we've been talking about. Experiences that, pull people in, give them the information they need clearly, and maybe even inspire them a little.
The source really positions design as a strategic partner for success.
It does. And it finishes with a point about memory, about lasting impact. It says well-designed brands aren't just seen.
They're remembered.
Exactly. Which suggests design plays a role in building that long-term brand value, that recognition.
Okay, that really wraps up our journey through this particular article's viewpoint. We've touched on its core idea, design as a vital strategy.
Covering its role from that split-second first impression and building trust.
Through to making things work well for the user, conveying brand values, and ultimately driving conversions. All based on the arguments presented in this one source.
Yeah, distilling its main points about design being fundamental to business.
So, based on everything this article suggests, here's something to think about. The source presents design as this core strategy, threaded through every single touch point. So how can you look at the brands, the websites, the apps you use or work with, and really evaluate? Is design functioning as that deep strategy they talk about? Or is it maybe still treated more like surface decoration, an afterthought added later on? Is it truly strategic or just aesthetic?
That's a good lens to apply,
Yeah.
seeing if that strategic depth is actually there in practice.
Absolutely. Well, thanks for joining us for this deep dive.